I wonder if I had been a high-profile college athlete and was playing on national TV platforms on the big stages as a 19, 20, 21-year-old kid, I wonder how many stupid things I would do. I wonder how hard it would be to live that down. And I really think sometimes when we evaluate some of these kids and talk about their maturity level and their preparedness for the NFL, like, it's tough shit, man. Because some of these guys sometimes will do really bad, dumb, stupid things at 18, 19, 20 years old that frankly aren't a lot different than either things we did do or things that we would have done if we were in the same spotlight, if not worse. But they're the ones that are damned for it. They're the ones that have to hear about it over and over and over again. They're the ones that it negatively impacts, and it sucks. I mean, it's a reality. That's the environment. But we put so much in terms of expectations on these young athletes and just young men in general. Like, it seems at times to be inherently unfair. And I bring that up because I look at Elijah Moore, and everybody will talk about lifting his leg to piss in the fucking egg bowl. Now, to me, when I see that, some will say, well, that's uncalled for, that's sick, that's grotesque, that has no place in the game. I look at that and I say, by God, like, that's an exceptional athlete. Like, that's a red ass that I want on my team. He cost his team the game with that penalty. You know, the kicker could have still made the fucking extra point. And they also wouldn't be in that position for that game-tying kick if Elijah Moore didn't come through and score that touchdown that put him in that spot. Or these are the types of things that these kids get remembered for. That one moment, that one potential lapse in judgment. And it's unfortunate. Now, if you start to see it become a trend or a pattern, like, that's a different conversation. I don't think one incident alone should ruin these guys. And if anything, like I said, like, that's exceptional athlete type of stuff. You had the lack of presence of mind on a big stage like that, you score a big touchdown, and you decide to squat down, lift your leg, and simulate a dog pissing. Like, that's somebody I want to build my team around. But Elijah Moore, in a draft full of, intriguing slot options, this is another one. This is a guy that you look at and you say, damn. If he had a Mac Jones throwing to him, or a Justin Fields throwing to him, or Trevor Lawrence throwing to him, these high-profile college quarterbacks, like, what light would we be looking at him at? You know what I mean? Like, how would we view him? Would he be up there in the conversation of potentially the best wide receiver in this draft? Perhaps. But I really like this kid. He's another one of these smaller slot options, but he's a guy that's got more than enough quickness. Like, you could see the explosiveness in his game. You could see the speed in his game. I mean, this is a guy that can be a home run threat. This is a guy that can make things happen. He's got the ability, even with his limited kind of average route running. When I say average route running, it's more about the lack of expansiveness of his route tree in terms of how he was utilized in that Ole Miss offense. And some of it, I think, is some of the polish within the route running itself. But this is a guy that I consistently saw be able to get separation, and quite a bit of it. And separation kills in the NFL. Separation is what matters most. Whether you get it with quickness and speed, or whether you get it with fluidity and fundamentals, and being able to set up opposing corners or safeties. No matter how you get separation, at the end of the day, can you get open? Can you get open and get in a position where a quarterback can trust that you're going to be able to get to the ball? And Elijah Moore can. He's a great option in terms of run after the catch. Like, you saw him at Ole Miss plenty, deployed on wide receiver screens and slants and quick crossing patterns, and get the ball into his hands, and he's going to make people miss. He's going to run through tackles. He's going to be a guy that picks up some tough yards. Like, He's got some alpha dog mentality to him. And you know, when you think about a position like wide receiver, you want somebody with a little bit of alpha dog mentality. Like, you can have too much. You certainly can. You can be a little too difficult to deal with. But when you're right, man, you can really be right. And you could be a guy that comes through and makes big plays in big moments in big spots. And I envision Elijah Moore being that type of guy. He's a pretty reliable catcher of the football, too. So you have confidence that you can put him out there and you say, okay, I'm going to be able to build him into the offense, and he's not going to let us down with back-breaking drops. I think the biggest thing that's a concern to me as I watch Elijah Moore, because the skill set is clearly there. Like, let's be clear. The skill set is clearly there. I don't think anybody can or should dispute that. What it comes down to with this young man is, how bad does he want it? Is he going to consistently play hard? Because I saw him quite a bit at Ole Miss the past 2 years, especially in 2020. If the play didn't involve him, if the play was a running play and it was away from him, I saw a really half-assed, lackadaisical effort, and that is being incredibly kind. And you worry about that type of stuff, and you worry about those types of guys. And you could say some of that might be due to the fact that, hey, this is a college wide receiver that has NFL aspirations, so he's not trying to sit there and tear an ACL or something, run blocking. I understand, and I totally get that. I totally agree to a point. But there is still something about, you're a football player at the end of the day. I want you to play football like a football player. That means get up there and get physical. It's not just about you. You can be a big part of what the team does. You can be an important cog in the wheel, but nobody is bigger than the team. And I want to know that a guy that I'm drafting high is going to be the type of dude that you can sit there and say, okay, no matter what, I know he's always going to put his best foot forward. And what I saw out of Elijah Moore the past couple of years led me to believe that that is something that you question. Now, in the right situation with the right coach, the right motivation, he could be as good as any wide receiver in this class. And I really mean that. He could have an A.J. Brown type of impact in the league. Yeah, similar type of guys to some degree. He gives me similar vibes to what A.J. Brown gave me a couple of years ago. A dude I looked at and I said, okay, you know what? While, yes, I agree they are slightly different as prospects, because I think when you talk about A.J. Brown, he was much more polished as a route runner, obviously. But Elijah Moore is quicker, faster, more explosive. You can have different traits and have similar contributions and similar abilities to perform at the next level. But when I look at that, like when everybody was buzzing about DK Metcalf, who himself obviously has had a great, phenomenal start to his career, A.J. Brown isn't exactly slacking here. I look at a guy like A.J. Moore and I say, if I'm a team that's there late in round one, like the Saints and the Packers, etc., or maybe even the Bills, for example, and I'm saying, I want another weapon for my quarterback. I want another weapon in my offense. I want a guy that could come in and be a game breaker and a difference maker. I think this kid could be it. When I watch him on film, he reminds me a bit of Randall Cobb. He's a little bit smaller than Randall Cobb, but I see some of that, like especially young, early Randall Cobb. Guy that was quick, that had plenty of speed, good hands. That's some of what I do. And like, the similarity bias comes in terms of when you're trying to project these guys to the next level, when you see them, you get flashes like, who do they remind you of? Can help you sometimes to kind of place where you would grade these guys. As long as Elijah Moore wants it, I think he could be a 10-year player in the league and be a pretty damn good one. I really do. But he's going to have to want it. And it's going to be important that he goes into a situation in the system where you've got the infrastructure in place, that they can support him, that they can, let him express himself and have his personality without going too far out of bounds. But yeah, man, you look at him like in the SEC, yeah, you're getting kind of lost in the shuffle because you got Jamar Chase there and you got Devontae Smith there and you've got Jalen Waddle there. Understand that. Maybe even a Terrace Marshall. Like, you're getting lost in the shuffle with several SEC wide receivers. But yeah, this dude's quite intriguing. I've got a first-round grade on him, believe it or not. I like him that much. And personally, I would take him over Devontae Smith from a standpoint of I think he brings more athletic traits to the field. Now, for some teams, Devontae Smith is certainly going to be a better fit. And Devontae Smith, even with the size concerns, like you talk about the exception to the rule and you say, okay, you still feel like this guy can make it. And I do. But I look at this young man, Elijah Moore, and I say, I see more history in recent years of guys like him coming in and doing some big things at the NFL level, and I expect him, with his head screwed on straight, to be able to do the same damn thing.